First say, God bless the United States Supreme Court. Amen. And God bless President Trump for the people he selected for our highest court. Today's decision is a win for the Constitution and a win for the sanctity of human life. Amen. June 24th, 2022, a date that will be remembered for a win for the sacredness of human life.
And Jim Jordan's very specific, very angry God. So that was Representative Jim Jordan celebrating the overturning of Roe v. Wade by the Supreme Court. And finally, it seems like Republicans are actually able and openly celebrating this move towards, again, a very far-right extremist Christian nationalism that we seem to find ourselves in more and more. And he wasn't the only one there praising Donald Trump, praising this Supreme Court. You have Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell writing this: the Supreme Court's landmark ruling in Dobbs is courageous and correct. This is a historic victory for the Constitution. Really? And for the most vulnerable in our society. Right. Millions of Americans have spent half a century, praying, marching, and working towards today's historic victories for the rule of law and for innocent life. I have been proud to stand with them throughout our long journey, and I share their joy today. Just as long as they're never born, just stay unborn, stay in that womb, because as soon as you're born, Mitch McConnell will absolutely take all of your rights away. So this is Senate Minority Leader. He is praising, obviously, I think he's got a pretty big role in this. He's, again, single-handedly prevented the nomination and confirmation of Merrick Garland under Barack Obama. He also made sure we push through the confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett in an election year, ironically, the reason that Merrick Garland could not be confirmed during that year. But before I go to the panel, a couple more little praises here. You've got Governor Ron DeSantis, again, America's next top MAGA frontrunner, writing on Twitter: by properly interpreting the Constitution, the Supreme Court has answered the prayers of millions upon millions of Americans. Something more about prayers. This is fun. Florida will continue to defend its recently enacted pro-life reforms against state court challenges, will work to expand pro-life protections, and will stand for life by promoting adoption, foster care, and child welfare. Sure, as you continue to not expand Medicaid in that country for so many impoverished kids. And of course, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy behind it all, really taking the win here today. Former President Donald Trump in a statement saying, today's decision, which is the biggest win for life in a generation, along with other decisions that have been announced recently, were only made possible because I delivered everything as promised, including nominating and getting 3 highly respected and strong constitutionalists confirmed the United States Supreme Court. These major victories prove that even though the radical left, capital R, capital L, is doing everything in their power to destroy the country and your rights are being protected, the country is being defended, and there's still hope and time to save America. I will never stop fighting for the great people of our nation. Again, as long as those people have not yet been born. Jessica, I want to give you the first word on this celebration of life.
Yeah, it's the exactly like you said, as long as they're not born. It reminds me of the "we have food at home" running joke. We have life outside of the womb to take care of. And we've always got to remind people, because they're celebrating this, like this is a victory for the rights of people, saying that it's going to benefit the most vulnerable. They're talking about fetuses when they say that. Let's be very clear. They're not talking about poor people, because poor people are going to be hurt the absolute most by this. Wealthy women, wealthy people with uteruses will always have access to contraceptives and have access to abortion. The people that will be hurt by this will be the people who can't afford to travel between states, who can't afford to get that care. They're going to seek abortions in really unsafe places if they need one. These people are going to get hurt. There's going to be women that don't have access to healthcare, and even if they do, they could be denied necessary life-saving treatment if they have a pregnancy that threatens their life, there will be people who die from this, and they're celebrating it like they just did something great for the country, and it's pretty sick.
Yeah, and of course they're celebrating it because they got their next level of control over women. It's always old white men that are trying to make this happen, men who have no ability to even converse with women in their own personal lives. So they do it through legislation. They've probably never been very successful in their own personal lives, and so they are bitter and angry. It's sort of the same premise that leads to a lot of these mass shooters, these people that just don't know how to relate to people. It's a very incel vibe that comes from these guys. And if you can convinced one woman to marry you 1,000,000 years ago for money, it's pretty much the same idea as being an incel. Of course, they support a child, an unborn child, someone that will become a full developed human being upon birth, supported in the womb, because again, it's a way just to create a wedge issue. But of course, they don't support these people once they are born, because then it costs money. They're happy to support things that cost them literally $0, but as soon as the people they are forcing to be born are any sort of requirement, well, then we're out of funds, and sorry, it's small government. As I've said before, they're very against government overreach, but they have no problem with government interreach into the bodies of women across the land.
Yeah, and something tells me Ron DeSantis is not going to make good on those promises around child welfare. Oh yeah, because Republicans are really good at supporting women and people and families that need any kind of support. No, all of this is window dressing on what I think they ultimately know is not popular. And it is not a right or left issue. And we have to come down to understanding that the number of women who seek abortions who already have families, right? It's about family planning, right? The number of their mistresses who've been asked to have an abortion, and yet Donald Trump is heralding this. But for me, I gotta hand it to them. They said that what they were gonna do, they put a plan into action over the course of decades, and they got it done. When it comes to the Supreme Court, it doesn't matter that the House and the Senate currently are controlled by Democrats, much good that's doing us. It doesn't matter that 70% of Americans believe that Roe v. Wade should not be overturned. They have minority rule. They put this plan into action. They've been grooming, Amy Coney Barrett, Brett Kavanaugh, Neil Gorsuch, since they were in law school. They know the Heritage Foundation has been there, and they've had this plan. And so honestly, kind of like, hats off, you used your Trojan horse of Trump to get all this done. You used Mitch McConnell, set it up and knocked it down. Everyone else suffers, especially poor women and poor people who can get pregnant. I mean, but like they did it. And it's interesting to see them finally kind of owning it, and we'll see what happens obviously in terms of their own voting base. Again, knowing that this is not a partisan issue. I do want to turn to Mike Pence. Mark Pence is what his name is now. Let's go to Mike Pence, because Mike Pence has had quite a week. This has been intense. We all know after the January 6 hearings, what's been going on and how much he was pressured, how the president called him a P word during that day, how he ultimately voted for the electors to confirm them. Well, Mike Pence is taking this opportunity of the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade to just kind of bask in all of this reactionary glory. Here's a statement from him. He writes, "This Supreme Court has righted a historic wrong and reaffirmed the right of the American people to govern themselves at a state level in a manner consistent with their values and aspirations, having been given this second chance for life. We must not rest and must not relent until the sanctity of life is restored to the center of American law in every state in the land." Now, this is a little bit of a hat tip to the idea that Mike Pence has been floating, and others have floated as well, that it's not enough to overturn Roe v. Wade. There should be an outright ban in all 50 states. Forget the trigger bans that are already going into effect in dozens of states right now. There should be a total ban, from New York to California to all the bluest of the blue states. He's excited about it, even to the point where, guys, I want to show you, Mike Pence's team is putting out videos, basically, again, heralding this decision and kind of giving Mike Pence the credit for it. Take a look.
Just as courageous leaders moved hearts and laws toward justice in the past, we now put Roe in the ash bin of history alongside Dred Scott. From pregnancy centers to the public square, from the State House to the sidewalk, millions have devoted their lives so others may simply live. God has used many of us in his own special and perfect way to make this moment possible. And in the hallways of the most powerful in the nation, Mike Pence answered the call. Did it begin on his first day in Congress when he swore an oath on the Bible? No, it began when he opened it as a new believer decades before. God tells us, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. His cause is our cause. In every human life, there is a soul, a sacred gift from our Maker. In Congress, Mike Pence offered the first legislation to defund Planned Parenthood. And years later, as vice president, he cast the tie-breaking vote that finally gave the right to the states. As governor of Indiana, he signed every pro-life bill that crossed his desk. And in the White House, Mike Pence provided the guidance and advice to the president to select Justices Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett.
So don't hang Mike Pence. Maybe one day vote for Mike Pence. Jessica, thoughts on this, on Mike Pence doing a little victory lap here?
Yeah, Mike Pence is out here saying that souls have a right to life. I think we should just like get on a Ouija board and be like, do you guys wanna come here? And they'll be like, no. And we'll be like, why not? And they'll be like, what am I gonna eat? There's not even baby formula. My mom's not gonna have maternity leave. I mean, seriously, like, let's really think about what Mike Pence is saying here. Souls have a right to life. This is an evangelical ad, and I don't wanna make light of it because it's literally horrible. But Ben, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, the full video is full of religious imagery. There was more Christ hanging on the cross in that thing than I could really bear first thing in the morning when I saw this clip. The man's gonna run for president and he's gonna try to completely erode and erase the separation of church and state to whatever degree it still exists. It's just frightening. It's just frightening how gleeful these people are about literally causing the deaths of thousands and thousands of women coming up because, like we've said, you're not gonna stop abortion, you're gonna stop safe abortion, which is a good chance to remind everybody that you can at least get one early in a pregnancy, a safe one with pills mailed to you. One website is plancpills.org. You can go there and get pills sent to you. And thus far, they don't have the ability to scan inside of your packages in the mail. So that is something that you can do to circumvent these insane trigger laws in these states that are, or you can move to a state that still respects human beings. Also in the full video, the announcer, I don't know if it was an accident or just he couldn't help it as an editor, said protecting the born and the unborn. And when they said unborn, they showed Mike Pence, which is apropos because he's barely a human, he's barely alive. And I think it's very telling.
Abort Mike Pence. I am there with you. And I watched that whole thing. I watched how overtly they're talking about this through the lens of God and morality and all that crap. And you know what I think? I just think we need more of Anna's response. So let's play the hit.
You live your life in the way that you interpret the Bible. Again, I don't care, but you don't get to take the Bible and tell me, well, the Bible says this in this chapter, in this verse. I don't care.
I don't care. And we continue to believe it. This is not constitutionality. Last thought before we go to break. This is not based in the Constitution at all. Remember, Roe v. Wade was established for the right, under the right to privacy. Not because it said abortion, not because it talked about uteruses, the right to privacy. The fact that your own body and when and how you choose, or if you choose to become a parent, happens in your mind, in your heart, in your home. That's it.
And it's not even really in the Bible. I know you said before you go to break, sorry, but I'm also so sick of people interpreting these broad parable analogy phrases in the Bible and taking them as though it's some kind of legal decree. It says, before I formed thee in the womb, I knew you. Well, it says before I formed you in the womb. So does that mean when it's sperm, when it's an egg? So then you can't even masturbate then. You're a genocidal murderer if you masturbate, you kill millions of sperm every time. I mean, it says before, if you're gonna go the word of the Bible, then really stick to it, you know?
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.